Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Yes, today we'll be dealing with the final part of Western thinkers and ethics, where we'll be discussing five more thinkers. So let's get into the topic. So in this lecture, we'll be dealing with J.S. Mill, Karl Marx, John Rawls, Max Weber, and James Madison. So these are the five thinkers we will be dealing with today. So starting from J.S. Mill. See, he was a English philosopher, political economist, and member of parliament, and a civil servant too. We could call him as one of the most influential thinkers in the history of classical liberalism because he widely contributed towards the social, political, and political theories. The political theory and political economy. However, his philosophies are utilitarianism. As we saw in the utilitarianism in the previous lecture, it is the same. Bring in maximum happiness and minimize the suffering for the greatest number of people. See, but on the part of happiness, J.S. Mill emphasizes more on the qualitative aspects of the pleasure. Next one is higher and lower pleasure. See, J.S. Mill distinguished between higher and lower pleasure, where he considers higher pleasures of mind and intellect as more valuable compared to the lower pleasures like bodily pleasures, and argues that pursuing intellectual, moral, and aesthetic pleasures lead to overall great happiness. This shows the qualitative aspects of pleasure. It's like higher pleasure, like he says that whenever you achieve something, that mind and intellectual will get a boost. So he wants everyone to get that type of pleasure. He considered this as higher pleasure. Next one is harm principle. See, he introduced the concept of harm principles where it states that the individuals should be free to act as they wish as long as they do not harm others. So, this is again something which must be followed in a society. So, you should not harm others at any cost or when doing your work or something. Next is development of individual. See, Mill strongly argues for the development of individual and promotes the diversity which can increase the human happiness. And also says that variety of opinions and perspectives contributes to intellect and moral growth. Yes, see, when people of different opinions, perspectives come together, they get into one person, which eventually helps in the intellectual and moral growth of an individual, and it can sometimes even promote the happiness of the same individual. Next is individual liberty. See, Mill emphasized the principle of utility in guiding ethical decisions and also emphasized that importance of individual liberty and autonomy. So what he says is he argues that individuals should be free to pursue for their own happiness as long as it does not harm others. We saw the same in harm principle. You are free to pursue, or individuals are free to act as long as they do not harm others. This is a few philosophies of J.S. Mill. Next, we'll be looking about the Karl Marx. Karl Marx, with respect to him, he is one of the great thinkers in during the times of Enlightenment in the Europe. He was a German philosopher, thinker, and social activist who influenced many people. His most significant works are the Communist Manifesto and thus Capital. His thoughts and ideologies are still relevant in these modern times. We are seeing that Das Capital, Communist Manifesto, the communism, he like we are seeing in China, North Korea, that is Democratic People's Republic of Korea. These are all quite communist countries, which is still relevant to the current scenario. So his philosophies include social change through revolution. See, to topple the bourgeoisie, he says called the terms of bourgeoisie, which means the people who own the production factories, who own the factories and stuff, and bring the proletariat in the sense it means the workers, to the position of the ruling class. Communists should aim to replace the private property with public control of all properties. Social change in the sense he suggests that private property must be abolished and only public property must be there, which can again be seen in China. Like there is no concept of private property in China. Example: French Revolution, Russian Revolution, or few examples of social change through revolution. Next is philosophical approach to reality. See, Marx believes that friction between two different classes, as I said, the bourgeoisie, the ruling class, and the proletariat, the working class, uh, friction between two classes in the society leads to contradiction in the society, which eventually leads to change in the society. Yes, this happens. Prohibition of sati. This is one example we can suggest in the philosophical approach to reality. One set of people supported sati, one set of people were against sati, which got into friction and eventually it led to the abolition of sati. Next, let us deal with John Rawls. So, John Rawls was a moral, legal, and political philosopher from the United States. See, in 1999, he also received the Scott Prize for Logic and Philosophy as well as the National Humanities Model. See, he is known as the father of contemporary contractarianism and is the most influential American philosopher post Second World War. His philosophy is also called Rawlsianism. Yes. So let's look into his philosophy. See, starting from equality, every individual in a society should have basic rights such as liberty, or right to vote, and right to hold public offices, and are clearly referred as political rights in many countries. Yes, right to liberty, right to vote are referred as political rights in many countries. That is still relevant in the current terms. Um, Example you can say is as recognition of marriage equality in many countries ensure that same-sex couples have equal rights and legal protections previously exclusive to opposite sex couples. Yes, this is something in the contemporary scenario, the same-sex couples are starting to get the equal rights as equal to the couples who were of opposite sex earlier. Next is differential equality. So, due to the differences in advantages and disadvantages among the individuals, the rights enjoyed by them are based on the position of the society. Example, we can say it as progressive taxation. See, the rich people earn more, pay more taxes, while the poor people earn less and pay less taxes, or sometimes even no tax. That's what called the differential equality. Coming on to the concept of social justice, in the political aspect, liberty principle plays a major role. See, Rawls explained that each person has equal right to most extensive basic liberty compatible with similar liberty for others too. You might get confused about this. When you look into the example, you'll find it easily. See, Bhagat Singh, an Indian revolutionary, was known for his love towards Mother India and its strong will to free India from the colonial British. Actually, that aspect, that love, that will for to free India from British, forced him to give away his life through actions against British. See, and that inspired thousands to take the cause for the freedom movement. Next is the social and economic inequalities. See, it has two principles of fair equality of opportunity. See, it requires the citizens with same talents and willingness to have same educational and economic opportunities regardless whether they are born rich or poor. See, it shows that governments should take steps to educate all the children and bring in them in the same society for them to achieve in spite of showing any difference. Next is the difference principle. See, it allows the inequalities of wealth and income as long as they will be to everyone's advantage and specifically to the advantage of those who will be worst off. The difference principle says that any economic inequalities be out to the greatest advantage of those who are advantaged. It says that the people who are advantaged mostly because of the wealth and income can stay unless it doesn't affect the disadvantage. Okay, it says that it should be of advantage even to the people who are worst off. Only then the difference principle can be tackled with. That's something John Rawls says about. Next, we'll be dealing with Max Weber. He was again a German sociologist, historian, lawyer, and political economist who is again recognized as one of the most influential thinkers of contemporary Western society's growth. See, Weber did not consider himself a sociologist, but he is regarded as one of the founding fathers of sociology alongside Karl Marx and Emile Durkheim. See, his philosophies. He extensively studied bureaucracy and their impact in the society. Sometimes he also recognized the importance and efficiency in achieving the organization goals, but at the same time identified certain issues such as emergency of rigid hierarchy and less flexibility. This is very much seen in the current scenario in India, particularly in the rural sectors and even in city sites too. See, his bureaucracy studies showed that efficiency is needed to achieve the organizational goal, but at the same time, rigid hierarchy means you cannot directly approach the highest senior in your highest office in your hierarchy. You have to go one by one, one by one, one by one. Eventually, that's a rigid hierarchy because of which the flexibility is less. Let's say there are 4 5 officers in an office, and one of them or two of them are corrupt. And if you get information about them, if there is rigid hierarchy, you cannot go and complain to the highest hierarchy. That will cause problem. So when you go to each level, the flexibility reduces, and eventually the cause of the people who got corrupt also may not face any trouble because of that hierarchy. Next is Protestant ethic and capitalism. So he explores the connection between Protestantism and rise of capitalism. See, he argued that certain religious values of Protestant ethics, the work ethics of Protestants, such as hard work, discipline, contributed towards the development of the capitalist spirit. So this is something we can say in the current America, in the United States of America. So when it came from, when it fought for freedom from, or whatever maybe from the United Kingdom, United States America was more towards the Protestant ethics that such as hard work, discipline, which eventually led to the development of capitalism, and today it's one of the leading economies in the world. That shows the study of Max Weber. Finally, let's look into James Madison. He was an American statesman, diplomat, and founding father who served as the country's fourth president from 1809 to 1817. So he is known as the father of the Constitution for his key role in the creation and promotion of United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. His philosophies are like, or key concepts are the republicanism. Like Madison believed in the republican form of government where power is held by the people and exercised through the representatives elected by the people. He acclaimed the participation of citizens and public deliberation in the process of decision making. India is a republic government. We vote for the people, and they in turn form the government. This shows the people's participation in the process of voting, which helps to form the government. Next is protection of individual rights. See, he stood strong for protecting the individual rights and freedom, where he believed that importance of safeguarding personal liberties from government encroachment, which may or may not happen. See, again, we can bring in India here. The Constitution of India gives a comprehensive list of the fundamental rights, which protects the individual liberties. Next is federalism. Madison supported the concept of federalism, which critically involves the division of power between central government and state or regional governments. Believed that balance of power will protect the rights of individual. Here again, India follows a federal system where power is divided between central government and state governments. Next is separation of powers. Madison argued for the separation of powers among different branches such as legislative, executive, and judiciary to avoid the concentration of power in one single branch and protect the liberty of an individual. See, what he wants to say is, like, if power gets into one, major power gets into one hand, like legislature or executive or judiciary, then they might tend to, that branch might tend to disturb the liberty of an individual. That's why Madison suggests the separation of powers, which again United States of America functions on the concept of separation of powers to even today. But in India, we have concept of checks and balances rather than entire separation of powers. So that's it for today's topic. Hope you guys understood today's topic. From next lecture, we'll be dealing with the Indian philosophies. Do comment your doubts if you have any, and we'll reply. We'll come back with next lecture soon. Thank you.